Hey folks, Dr. Mike here for Renaissance Periodization. I'm sure you've heard it before plenty of times, but doing a higher frequency program leads to more gains. And you know what? Sometimes it really does, but sometimes more workouts are not better. And that's weekly tip number 20. Let's take a look at situations in which more working out might not yield better results, and also kind of a bit of a fundamental analysis of what types of frequencies are better than others. So here's the deal. Per muscle group. So think, how often do I train my chest per week or my biceps or whatever? Not how many times do I go in the gym, how often do I train a specific muscle group. In most cases, and this is sort of research derived, 2 sessions per week versus just 1 session. So if you train chest once a week versus 2 sessions per week makes in most people a notable difference. It's better. In most cases, training a muscle twice a week is better than training it once a week, even if you adjust the volume. So for example, if it's okay, chest Monday, it's 20 sets of chest, and then no chest the rest of the week, versus chest on Monday, 10 sets, chest on Thursday, 10 sets. That second one, 10 and 10, usually beats 20 for a variety of reasons. Hypertrophy made simple. You'll look into the frequency one. It explains a whole bunch. Advanced hypertrophy concepts and tools videos explain even more. But the short story about it, and there's tons of nuance, but generally your muscles only get to grow for so long, and a week is usually too long. Their growth cycle, actually how long they grow after you stimulate them or how long they grow, usually only lasts about half a week at most, maybe a little shorter. So if you train a muscle twice a week, it's just more opportunity for it to grow and less for it to just sit around. And also, there is this thing called junk volume that once you get tired enough, your volume, like your 5th exercise for chest that day, it's just beating the shit out of stuff and not really improving it anymore. So you have much less of that. If you split your training up into 2 sessions, you're more fresh for all of your sets, which is generally a good thing. And also, last quick thing is that after a certain number of sets, usually anything north of 12 to 14 sets on average per muscle group, you're starting to do more damage than you are stimulating hypertrophy. So over the next whatever week or half week, you actually start to use more resources to just recover than you would to adapt. So a mid-range is best, maybe like somewhere between 6 and 12 sets per session per muscle is probably ideal. So if you're doing like 20 per week, as far as set number, splitting it up into halves is probably a good idea because it gives you great growth stimulus, but it doesn't come at this huge expense of also trying to recover you. You basically like took your chest into a fucking car accident, 20 hard sets in one session is probably not ideal. Now, it still works. And for many people will get very good gains, but you'll probably get at least somewhat notably better gains if you train twice a week than once a week for any one given muscle group. That's not super high frequency though. Plenty of us train twice a week. What about 3 times a week? So that's training chest maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday versus training chest Monday and Thursday. Can make a small difference. Has been detected by studies. On average, it will work better. On average. But in some cases, it might actually be worse. For example, training that's insanely hard and very difficult to recover from. Leg training. If you are pretty large, over 190 pounds, relatively lean and relatively strong, 10 to 20% body fat, and maybe you can squat 3 plates, 4 sets of 5 to 10 or more. High bar, deep squat, under control. Once you get to that and above, a lot of times you can push so much damage onto your legs that training them 3 times a week with anything called a normal training session is just not going to be a real good setup for recovery. Sometimes you can make it work. Instead of doing 6 sets of quads twice a week, may be able to do 4 sets of quads 3 times a week or something like that. And sometimes that works great. And on average, in the short term, it actually works better. But as you get bigger and stronger, a lot of times your joints and connective tissues just can't recover from 3 heavy leg sessions or something like that per week, and maybe 2 is better. So 2 versus 1 is something where like, yeah, like if someone tells us like, hey, like, here's my program. Someone talks to you at the gym. They're like, oh, you look pretty jacked and you seem to know what you're doing. Here's my program. What do you think? If you're training every muscle 1 time a week, you have full license to be like, I think you'd probably be better training everything twice a week. And almost always you're going to be right, or usually. If someone says, hey, I train every muscle twice a week, should I go to 3 times a week? It is already kind of like an even discussion of, well, I need to know more. Like, it's not clear to me that 3 times is always superior than 2. And it's not superior in enough circumstances, though still the minority, it's a large minority, we kind of want to ask about it, right? Number 4, per muscle. 4 sessions per week, per muscle. Chest, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, maybe. Versus 3, versus just Monday, Wednesday, Friday, is really up in the air, and it depends a whole lot more on circumstance than on principle. So on principle, it's just not clear that 4 is going to do better than 3. On some of the principles, like number of times to stimulate a muscle, it wins. On some of the principles, like the idea that your connective tissue can't recover as fast as muscle in most cases, and 4 will just fuck it up, and by the end of the meso, you'll be trash, it loses. So it's really, really up in the air. And it's not just like, 3 is better than 2 in most cases, or sorry, more cases than not, but there's a huge minority of cases in which it doesn't. 4 versus 3, I'm inclined to believe that unless your program is very well designed, especially if you're big and strong, I would prefer 3 versus 4 because 4 can get you in a shitload of trouble with just doing too much. I've been there. I did it to myself. So we're starting to notice that, people say, well, high frequency is better. Well, they're probably right in recommending 2 sessions per week versus 1. They might be right and are likely right, but with a great deal of nuance, recommending 3 versus 2 sessions. And 4 versus 3, no longer a principal discussion. There's no good reason to believe that 4 is better than 3 in even most cases. It might be, or it might not be. It really is situationally dependent at that point. So if you're a person who's been getting a certain amount of growth from 3 sessions a week and you're thinking, ooh, I should probably do 4. More frequency is better. Don't think like that. Think, okay, in my particular circumstance for this particular muscle group that I'm training, maybe I'll try 4 times a week frequency versus 3 for a whole mesocycle. And I'm going to lift heavy 2 of those sessions, but really light 2 of those sessions, use very different exercises for 2 than I would for the other 2. So there's lots of variation, not a lot of joint and connective tissue stress, and then maybe it'll manage and maybe I'll get better gains. But if you don't make some adjustments, 4 sessions per muscle group per week is a lot, and it can lead you down a road of getting super fucked up, or it can lead you down a road of excellent hypertrophy. It's just not clear that it's like just on face value superior. Now, what about per week? So that's per session. That's per muscle per session. So chest twice a week. What about total sessions per week? Like total times you go to the gym. Here, it's a little bit more straightforward. Hitting the gym on average for the average person, 5 times a week is going to get better results than 4 times a week, is going to get better results than 3, is going to get way better results than 2, infinitely better results than 1, right? A lot of people are like, well, I hit the gym once a week. What do you think? I'm like, after 6 months, you'll probably never make any gains again. That sucks. It's like a really shitty maintenance plan. Now, what about 6 days a week? I left that out. Well, 6 days of training per week, you show up to the gym 6 times, is only probably a tiny bit better than 5, and it only is contextualized on if you can recover. And of course, super advanced folks, such as myself and Charlie and Jared from Team Full ROM, we train more than 6 times per week. We train somewhere between 8 and 10 times per week, an average of 9 times per week. So basically we have 3 2-a-days over the week, and then it's a 6-day split. That is only for the very advanced. It means your recovery is super, super on point. And if you're a beginner or intermediate and you do this double split thing, you might get razor thin, barely more gains for literally double the work. It'd be stupid as fuck. So I would recommend you don't do it. Now, okay, yeah, more sessions is better. We got it. Even 6 is marginally better than 5 in most cases. However, consistency beats any number of sessions you planned to do. What the fuck does that mean? That means your plans, reality doesn't give a shit about your plans. If you make an awesome, multi-phasic, SFR'd up 6-day plan and you miss 1 to 2 sessions each week, you're going to get some results that are similar to, but slightly worse than, a 4 to 5 day a week plan. Because you skip 1 to 2 sessions each week, you're actually doing a 4 to 5 day a week plan. But because you're skipping, your workouts could be super logical. You could check all the boxes. But because you're skipping some here and there, they're actually relatively illogical. The program suffers from a lot of chaos. And thus, if you have a 6-day plan and you miss 1 or 2 days of the week on average, so your average is you make it 4.5 days a week to the gym, you're probably only getting the hypertrophic yield of 3.5 to 4 days a week of planned, diligent training that you actually do consistently. So this is to answer a really big question a lot of people have. If I go on RP and buy one of the templates or something, right? Oh, shameless plug or whatever. I want a program. I write myself or I buy it from someone else. Jeff Nippard sells fine programs online. So if I do that, should I go for the 6-day program or the 5-day? I kind of want to do the 5-day. No, it's going to be hard to hit the 6-day. Sometimes on Saturdays, I've got other stuff going on. I can't train, but I want maximum gains. And is the 6-day really that much more effectual? The answer is no. The answer is you train whatever you can make. And if that means you diligently, every time, week after week after week, do 4 days a week and you fucking knock it out, that's better than doing a 5-day plan and just fucking up every now and again and getting off track. You don't want any of that. And it's not a huge enough gain from 4 to 5 to 6 for you to overvalue that and go up anyway if you can't be consistent. So consistency is rule 1. The real way you make a plan is you first ask yourself, the question you ask yourself is, how many days can I make it to the gym per week on average for sure, or damn near for sure? Godzilla could step on your house and you fucking won't make it anywhere. Damn near for sure. How often can I make it? If you're legit, true answer is 6, and that's what you want, 6 it is. 6 is the best. If you can only make 3 for sure, fucking do 3, because you'll be able to execute the plan. You'll be great at it. You're going to get great hypertrophy. And if your schedule opens up later, then you can do 4. But if it doesn't, what the fuck is the point? You don't want a chaotic plan to be like, yeah, I'm on a 6-day plan, but I only really fucking go twice a week, you know? Like, just make yourself a twice a week plan. You'll be good. Rest days, last point here, are a huge deal. There have been a few people over the course of time who are like, team no days off, and they actually make 7-day programs thinking that, okay, I have 7 days of training, 7 days per week. I'm not resting my laurels all. I want the best possible outcomes, and I'm willing to do what it takes. Sweet. Hey, fucking slap you on the back. Awesome. You're the shit. Super motivated. The problem is that you don't grow in the gym. You grow during rest. And fatigue accumulates. And if you have even 1 rest day per week, it makes a huge difference to how well week 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 go. Week 1, yeah, you can do 1 week of 7 days and feel great, but you can't keep that up with optimum stimulus. You're just going to get under-recovered. So remember, rest days are the shit. 1 to 2 of them per week is awesome. So 5 or 6 days, hard training per week is the most you should be doing. If you're doing 7 days of training per week all the time, man, it's actually quite tragic because you're doing more work and getting slightly less benefit or same benefit. But over time, you actually get worse benefit because your joints and connective tissues start to degrade if you train that often. So it's like you're doing more work for less benefit. That's fucking stupid. I would not recommend it. So TLDR, supposed to be a quick tip, ran a little longer. You motherfuckers like knowledge, so here's some. Here's the sort of summary. Train, for most cases, each muscle at least twice a week. Each of the workouts in which you train the muscle, because you can do a lot of sets or very few sets, and then you recover after a short time or a long time, for each workout which you come in to do, for each muscle, you want to be well rested and have high quality workouts. A lot of people ask like, hey, should I train sore? My answer is, why are you getting so sore that you can't heal on time for your next session? You should be entering your next session for chest being like, oh man, my chest feels fucking great. And someone could be like, hey, when did it heal? And it wasn't sore anymore. Like, yesterday, I felt barely anything. This morning I woke up, I feel like fucking Superman. That's going to be a good fucking session. If you can heal for Monday and for Wednesday and for Friday, 3 days a week for chest is awesome. But if you train on Monday chest, Wednesday you train sore and sort of not recovered and your volumes and intensities are down because you're clearly still fucked up. And then Friday you have another excellent workout, but then on Monday you're still sore. That's not a good idea. I would recommend that you train Monday and Thursday because muscles take some time to recover. And in your case, either you're doing too much volume per time or you are just doing too much frequency. One of those has to change because you want to be in a place, a good program, when it's time to train whatever muscle it's time to train next, you're recovered and ready to fucking hit it hard and then harder the last time. I had to. My inner parrot said, do a Coach Greg impression. So high quality workouts for which you're well rested is the most important thing in a program, so long as you're going twice a week, at least in most cases. And after you say, okay, I'm training each muscle group twice a week, and I'm going hard every time, and I'm recovered for each muscle every time, there's not really a universal compelling reason to do more. This is exactly what I mean by this. If you're doing twice a week training in the gym, and you're getting amazing results, and you're healing on time every time, and you're fucking great workouts because you're super recovered, and someone says, you train chest, twice a week? And you're like, yeah. Like, you try 4 times a week, you'll get better gains. It is by no means clear that's the case, taking all of the sports science literature that's relevant and all the context from actual people training into the equation. It's not clear at all. And if you're having awesome workouts twice a week for a muscle group and you're having great gains, don't fucking change. You don't need to change anything. You can. Just don't expect this giant rainbow to bring you a pot of gold because that may not happen. And in fact, sometimes less is better. So experiment, be honest with yourself, detach the idea in your head that more is better. Better is better. Getting hard sessions, 3 to 10 sets per session, done with excellent technique, a high degree of stimulus, a low degree of fatigue, recover between each one of those sessions, and then find out how many times a week you can make that work. There's a lot of right answers, but there's a lot of wrong answers too. Don't train when you're too sore, ideally not at all. When you come in, hit it hard. And if your muscles are ready to hit it hard again and they're healed, but you're not training them yet, you should have a higher frequency. So basically your chest gets sore, it heals. As soon as the day after it's healed, hit it again. If you wait a day or 2 or 3, that's lost opportunity to just make growth, which is the big detraction from one session per week. Like your chest doesn't get sore for a whole week. You train it super hard on Monday, by Thursday it's healed. Fucking train it again Thursday, right? Don't wait. So align your stimulus to your recovery. And if that is the case, everything else is just details. Experiment with them to see what works best for you. Sometimes you can even cycle volume. We'll get to that in later videos. But fundamentally, don't think, oh, I should do more. Quality, the stimulus, roughly in proportion to how much and when you can recover, that covers 90-something% of your bases. And if you're not getting great results from that, there's nothing that will give you great results. And if you're getting great results from that, stick to it. Really think honestly, calmly, not with wide, crazy eyes of I'm going to double my gains by going 4 days a week for chest instead of 2. That's just not going to happen. You may get a marginal improvement. You may get a marginal decrement. Be smart. Do the right thing. Next time it'll be a quicker tip. See you then.